sound of a man slipping. Look, can you, oh, I wonder if I can zoom in for you. God, that's so noisy. Don't know if you can see it. That's a spring pouring, or the main spring running down. That's that noise. Incredible. But we're going to have to watch our footsteps. But we're also going to walk this way. And just mooch about and see what we can see. There's something already. It is so wet here. We're going to have a look. Hello. We're going to go and have a look and see just how many springs are running down the side of this hill into this wood, into the catchment area that is down there. Well, so we're going to go this way. It's probably the very, 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 very last of autumn now. I mean, literally the very last. In fact, it's almost early winter. We were expecting, or are expecting, a storm to hit us today. It hasn't got here yet, which is good, and why I'm actually doing this. Oh, look. But because I was expecting a storm, it does mean that I don't have the gimbal. And once again, maybe you can count how many times I slip up. Okay, well, I've got the job of clearing this path to make it passable again. There's another path that comes down here and goes up through there, some steps, and goes the top way. But I'm not going to go that way, we're going to go this way. I know I can't do a whole way round. It's just not possible anymore. And if anyone's seen my City Fairies video with the bluebells, that's down there. No bluebells now. So it's going to be more looking at me. Wow. I'm amazed, you know, sound, yeah? Well, there is work going on quite near, so you may hear obtrusive sounds, you know, apart from my voice being obtrusive. I mean, you might not, look, I can hear it quite clearly, that's why I'm mentioning it, but it may not pick up, the camera microphone may not pick it up, so we will see. I won't see until later. Wow, it's lovely, isn't it? Now it does smell wet. Can you hear all that water? Sort of a rushing, whooshing sound. It's really, really loud. It echoes around here, but you know, sound, if you live in a valley or a hollow, or you're on the side of a steep hill or on a hill, you become very acutely aware of just how sound travels. I mean, some people don't care. I mean, you know, you can eavesdrop on people if you want to in places like that, even if you're talking in a normal voice, because it acts as an amplifier. So what you think is just a normal voice is being amplified by the earth and sent out into all kinds of directions. It really is. It makes you think if you realise this. Because I use an upturned bucket, or I use the principle of that to make anything I'm listening to on my phone, because I don't use earphones, sound louder. So I'll put it so the speaker faces away from me at a slight angle so that the sound can bounce off something. So for example, I'll put it in a bucket, but I'll face it so that the sound will bounce around the bucket, and what happens is it will sound louder. It's the same principle as why a guitar, an acoustic guitar, has got a hollow body with an open bit for the sound, because it amplifies the sound. Basic principle. Right, here's one of the streams coming down here. Shall we see if we can meet it? I don't know if you can see a channel to the left of that tree with the fern there, not the one in the distance. Well, that looks really inviting, doesn't it? But it comes down here. Here we are, following the channel, and there's the water disappearing down into that lovely autumn land there. Down there. But also water is coming from here as well, and down here, undercutting the roots of this tree and causing a soggy mess. Now there is also some water here, and this is on a bit of a rise, so that implies that there's water catching down here somewhere and coming along the path. So I'm not counting, but that's 3, isn't it, so far? Oh, I think there's a tree down. I think so. I'm not sure. That might have been there for a while though. But that beach is such a glow in there, isn't it? But so that it sort of amplifies the sound. You know, one of my friends, and if you're watching, hiya, he was coincidentally working next door to where I was living, and I'd been asked to move out. Everything was fine about that, because I had an agreement, and I'd been there longer than the agreement anyway. And it was just circumstances. I was having to move out because the person whose caravan it was pregnant and needed somewhere to live. So there you go. So it wasn't too bad, but he was next door talking about it to someone that he was working with. Next thing, it's being mentioned to me that I've been going around, dissing when I hadn't. But that's a result of the sound bouncing up the bowl of catchment of valley. It is quite eye-drawing, that tree there. It's a beach. It's slightly different to the other beaches, isn't it? Well, there's the view behind us. I love the way these hazels arch over the path. But sound, frequency, amplification does make you think, doesn't it? You know, because there are some structures, very old structures, that do that, that have angled faces. And evidence points towards the fact that they were used to amplify as well as generate due to the way they're made. Basic electronics, almost. See, that tree has come down relatively recently. Wow. This is a real kind of Middle Earth path, this. Look at those ferns, look at them. In there, putting their winter coats on. They're quite massive, aren't they? Can you hear that? The squelching of the ground. Something likes to sit on the branches above here, look. Can you see that white? Either that or it's a seagull that's not very ill that's been flying over. It looks like seagull trail. I was wondering if we could see water running down there. We can't. We can hear it. Can you hear it? I know there's a plane going over right now, just as I mentioned that. Apologies if there's any wet got on the screen. I'm trying to keep it as flowing as possible. But what I'm also doing here is I am on a bit of an investigation, like I said, because I want to check that the paths, well, not check that the paths are clear, but just to check how much work I'm going to need to do, just so I'm prepared. Because it's quite handy when you work outside and do physical work. It's really handy to know what you're doing or likely to be doing in advance, so you can prepare your body and mind for the physical effects of what you're doing, not to mention the psychological effects. I'm sure you can all relate to work that bores you stupid. Well, it's not work that bores me stupid here, it's the pain on the body that causes a problem. Oh, it's so lovely. So we'll hope for the best. And there's signs of muntjac were coming through here. Yeah, two-footed. There has been reports, okay, quite recently, of something. Wow, this is lush. I love this. This is my Middle Earth tree. It's just something about this bit of path that reminds me of that world. And Tolkien did actually hang out not too far from here. This is Cotswolds, albeit the southern reaches, but it's still Cotswoldian nonetheless. So if I walk under it, you will see in the background just why I love it so much. The wizard walking through here now. Ooh. Now this is a difficult one to deal with, but actually it's not going to be as hard to make this passable as I thought. Not in there anyway. I'm not going to go into there because I haven't come armed with a saw, but that can easily be cleared. So I shall do a gnome dance of joy. Now there is one of those nature sites. Let's see if we can go through here. Can you see into there? Imagine. I have actually filmed me walking through or crawling through there. Whether it's on camera or whether I had to turn it off, I can't remember now. Wouldn't be surprised if I had to turn it off. But anyway, what we'll do is we'll go round. There's another tree down there that I haven't noticed for a while. And we'll once again see this lovely tree. Beautiful, isn't it? That's just a classic view that I really love. It's one of my favourites. I'd never tire of that. So I'm keen to keep it for as long as possible. So we're going to have to come up this way. Aren't we? Yes, we are. In my pocket I have an umbrella, just in case, but I think it might have cleared a bit. Now, one of the things about the sound and generating and frequency, and I've talked about this before, and I'm sure there's a number of people watching who are aware of the possibility of free energy in the air, because it is all in the air. We are surrounded by EMF, epiphytes, that's probably one of the closest I've got to them. Not these particular ones, but to any. On a mossy branch like that. Fabulous. You know, it's one of those things that we, in an ancient wood, there is all kinds of stuff growing, and it takes that long to get there. Now I've got a view I've never had. I've never seen this, so here's a first. That view. That's because I'm never up here. I'm normally down there where this tree has crashed over. So we are heading that way. But there are all kinds of things that take a long time to build up before certain other things can grow. There's some more epiphytes. And we have to sort of get through here. You know, it's possible, even various fungi, small plants, insignificant things like creatures or mosses, you name it. They don't just happen, they take a while to generate and build up and become. This is an interesting tangle in here. It is a video I have done where I actually do venture into there. I haven't edited it yet. But that's the tangle of Old Man's beard, which is not good for it to go unchecked like that. But it would make a perfect dwelling down there, wouldn't it? For some creatures. I'm sure it does. Look at these. I can't get down there to photograph them any closer. So that's as near as I can get. So we're now round the other side of the obstruction. So basically, yeah, there's a bit of cutting back. I cut back the hazel. I cut back this Old Man's beard. Cut that branch. This one here. And then those that are behind it, cut them. And we're free, this one. And we're through. And that'll be nice. Because when you come through there, you come into this. See, this is a lovely bit. After the first wizardly hazel, then we're on to this bit. It's one of my favourite paths in any wood or sections of a path. It really is. But it's amazing how much has come down. And just, wow, look at this. There's all that above it. It's like an amazing tree canopy. Now I know there will be those who say, oh no, you've got to cut that, you've got to do that, you've got to, you know. Well, don't know. You don't have to. We have so little of our wild wood, so little. Now this section here, this bit, can you see that Old Man's beard? This is now dead, this ash, sadly, but this Old Man's beard, it did look fantastic in certain lights. certainly the winter, because you would get all these purples. I'm pretty sure I've got it on a video that's already up somewhere. So this path serpentinely snakes around here. We weave, don't we? And that water sound does roar. It's not the roar of traffic, it's the roar of water. And at our feet, in certain places, here being one, the edge is a little bank of moss, and all the moss up the trees. Amazing, isn't it? Green and pleasant land. Sadly I'll have to move this across, so I'm guessing that one is going to take back to there. Take it back to there. That reduces the weight, lifts it up. I mean, it probably should go back even further, because you can see just how long that is. That's a bit too long, really. That'll just pull it over. And that's what I'm trying to do. I try and do the minimum I need to just keep everything and make it so that it flourishes. I do get very, very saddened by the arrogance of people who've been to college and haven't been out long and haven't got the experience, because I don't think, what you find is what may be taught and be the thing now will turn out to not be the thing. I mean, back when the Forestry Commission were doing their shall we say irreversible damage, since then things have changed. There was a time when the earth was flat. That was the belief. That was the thing. I'm just making a point here that just because something is true or is seen a certain way, roses, the official pruning of roses, well, 20 years ago it all changed, and they went, well, actually you don't need to do it that accurately. This is the RHS, the Royal Horticultural Society, suddenly taking it back to a bud and doing that. They said, no, it doesn't matter, you can just cut it with shears if you want to and still get the same result. I mean, so yeah, so basically, because there's agendas at work everywhere, well, look at these. Alfred's been here making his cakes. I can't get closer. Yeah, things have changed. So I tend to do what's best for the nature. If you go with what feels right, then generally you're doing the right thing, aren't you? And the idea is not to go willy-nilly. But the other big problem with woods, and I do want to do a video on actual tree planting, and you know, do you hear that muntjac? Tree killer, another type of tree killer. Right, here we go. Here's another one coming down. And it looks like that one's coming from up that way. And then heading on down there. That's beautiful, isn't it? That's a sight to behold, with all the colours and the little, just all of it. The epiphytes, the ivy, the moss, the young branches, the old branches, all of it. Glorious. Now, ahead of us here, you can probably see it now, we have more. Another one. Another water channel flowing from up on high. Eating away those roots. And off to meet the other one that we've just passed. They're lovely. Beautiful. And now we head this way. And we haven't finished what I call the Middle Earth path. Amazing. Feels really gorgeous today. But people have agendas. The state has agendas. There are agendas for teaching things a certain way. There are. I know a lot of teachers who stopped teaching back in the 90s because they were the agendas that were running. They just didn't agree with them. And they were quite angry and realised that they couldn't do the jobs that they wanted to do due to this other stuff that wasn't anything to do with teaching. What it was to do with numbers. Numbers, yep. Getting the quota right. Like a perdon, Is that what they're called, these? As I said, I can't get closer. Well, that's an interesting knuckle there on that tree. Is it there? Interesting. Of course, that's the other thing that makes steep woods quite difficult. That's the climbing up them. Here we are, we're about to open out. And because of agendas, things are made to be or made to seem certain ways in order to perpetuate those agendas and fulfill those agendas and perpetuate a belief amongst young people who these days don't seem to be taught to think, to question everything. And you see it now in social media. Photographs are doctored, edited to fulfill a fantasy that people end up living in that's just not this. I don't have to edit this, do I? This is how it is. This is the magic. I don't have to dress up for this. I don't have to put a costume on. I'm already it. We are right now completely alone in this wood. We are the only ones in it. Honestly, the only ones. Aside from some animals, of course, but we're the only humans. I say we, you're here in spirit. Retro spirit in a way. Oh, there's so much to look at here, I don't know what to film. Okay, well, we'll start with that. And then we'll go to that. Those ferns, lovely. And then we'll go to this. These logs, they had only just been cut the first time I came in here. So I can tell you for sure that this is just over 20 years of decay. Can you see how long they've lasted? But that moss is just fantastic, isn't it? Like, oh, the green and the orange together, it's like wow, 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 wow. Isn't it fantastic? And here's some more before we go snaking around. As you see, the path goes up there. A quick look behind us. There's where we've come from. And here's where we're going. Can you feel that that's all changed now? That energy that we had back there in the Middle Earth bit has all changed. Isn't that interesting? Like completely back there. I wonder what there is back there that causes that. So we're about to meet the Queen. Providing I can get over this. There you can see her floor. You can see what she's done to decorate her habitat. Now I can't get her in. There's Queen Beach. Da, 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 da. Well, I'm up on the 11th floor. And watching the cruisers below. Wow. Now I probably should. Well, I think, do you want to go and see? Come with me. Come with me. We'll go back. Because I may be able to get a shot of her from behind. Now, the reason I'm taking you back this way is because this is where a part of the loop goes off this way, or one of the loops, and up here, so we can investigate what I may be having to do here to clear this path. Whoa. Okay. Right, I got to make a way through there. Okay. Well, I can't even do it. I can't even go up to see just how far. But that's going to be all the work, that is. So, thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share and comment. It really helps out. It really does. As you know, I don't run ads. And the algorithm doesn't like that, does it? Because what's the point of me moaning about the shit that and then to make money through advertising to sell the shit that's fucking up the earth that I'm talking about protecting and respecting. I can't do it. So donations are always welcome. And check out some of the links below. Sign up for a healing walk, healing session, or anything else that's on my website that you need or are interested in. There are things that you can ask me, because there is stuff I could do if you want me to, either as a group or one-to-one. I've just seen something lovely to end on, so thanks for coming. See you next time. Ta-ra.